back to another Descent of Dragons preview, even though it released. Haven't gone over all of them yet. Still haven't looked anything up on them. So, still a preview. Need to finish these. Then I'll get into the reviews. Finish those up. It'll be good. Alright, first off, we have Evasive Worm. So, a 6-cost, 5/3 neutral dragon, which has Divine Shield and Rush that can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Honestly, a relatively strong dragon, I think. Rushing in for a quick 5 hit, and he's not taking any damage yet because he has that Divine Shield. Very difficult to deal with. Obviously understated for all those other benefits that he has for 6. But honestly, I still think a relatively strong card on the curve. I don't really see this. It probably goes into some kind of dragon deck, maybe. Evil Quartermaster. So 3-cost, 2/3 warrior minion. Battlecry, add a lackey to your hand, and gain 3 armor. So just, honestly, overall, a pretty decent card. Stats balance it out with the 3 armor and the lackey. So I think this card is honestly just a solid warrior minion. Faceless Corruptor. 5-cost, 5/4 neutral minion with Rush and Battlecry. Transform one of your minions into a copy of this. So you transform one of your little guys into another 5/4 with Rush. So you'll have 2 5/4s with Rush if you have another minion on the board. Which honestly is pretty good stats for 5. So another fairly strong card. Maybe going to go into like a control type deck, possibly. Firehawk. 3-cost, 1/3 neutral elemental. Battlecry, gain +1 attack for each card in your opponent's hand. Don't know if they're trying to push for some kind of mill deck again with this, but it just seems kind of weird. I mean, maybe probably going to be relatively strong and wild for like a mill deck. I think you could throw that in there because I know Goblin Sappers are normally in the deck. But Goblin Sappers you can counter by getting cards out of your hand. This one you can't counter because it's a battle cry, so you got to deal with it right away. So honestly, probably pretty strong wild. I'm thinking it's going to be pretty weak in standard. 4-cost, 5/4 neutral legendary. Frizz Kindle Roost. Battlecry, reduce the cost of dragons in your hand by 2. So if there's some kind of dragon deck, this is a shoe-in, or any kind of maybe dragon Highlander deck, this is a shoe-in. Honestly, just a really strong card. Even the stats are on curve for 4, and you get that really good Battlecry. The last Glockrond I haven't talked about would be the Shaman Glockrond, Glockrond the Tempest, a 7-cost hero with a Battlecry of summon 2 2/2 storms with Rush, invoke twice to upgrade, which then gives you 4/4 storms with Rush, and then if you upgrade it one last time, you get 2 8/8 storms with Rush, and a 5/2 claw, and I forgot to mention that you always get 5 armor. And the hero power is Glockrond's Fury, which is summon a 2/1 elemental with Rush. And the storms as well that Glockrond summons off of his Battlecry are also elementals. So a lot of value you can get out of him. 2 8/8 storms with Rush for 7, and a 5/2 claw, and 5 armor, and a better hero power. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. He is super strong. Basically, I'm thinking any class that has a Glockrond is probably going to run it. Very high chance. Most likely is going to happen. Because they're just so strong and their hero powers are so good compared to the basic hero powers. 3 cost, 3/3. Neutral minion. Goboglide Tech. Battlecry if you control a mech. Gain +1/+1 and rush. Pretty good. Pretty good minion. There's not too much to say about this. There's not too many new mechs that I've seen. There's like a few, but not very many. Probably going to see more play in Wild, probably, but I think it is still a bit weak for Wild, so probably won't see too much play anywhere. Garou, the Mighty of the well, there's only one T. The Maitri. 7 cost, 5/10, Druid Legendary. It has Taunt and Battlecry. For the rest of the game, your Treants have +1/+1. So if you're looking to make a Treant deck, this is a shoe-in. I saw that there's a lot of new Treant stuff for Druid. I don't know. It makes Forest's Aid even better. So honestly, you could play this turn 7 and then Forest Aid turn 8, which gives you 5/3/3s. Honestly, great for a Treant deck. If a Treant deck becomes a meta tier deck, I will probably always run that, because I love playing Treant decks for some reason. And you still got Mulch Muncher too as an option. Grizzled Wizard. 2 cost, 3/2 neutral minion. Battlecry, swap hero powers with your opponent until your next turn. I don't really know if the Battlecry is really worth it. Because, yeah, you get your opponent's hero power. Which, maybe that causes lethal if you're playing against Hunter. You just quick steal his hero power and shoot him with his own hero power. I don't know. Otherwise, I really don't see this really being necessary for anything. It's not that great, I don't think. So, I don't think it's going to be seen much. Gyrocopter. 6 cost, 4/5 neutral mech with Rush and Wind Fury. It's been a while since we've seen a new Wind Fury card, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Not terrible. I don't necessarily think too many people are going to run this, but it's not horrid for the stats, because it is, of course, below, because it's got Rush and Wind Fury, but it's still not bad. For 6, that's honestly a fair price for that. So, it sits at the correct stat line, but I don't think it's gonna be able to do too much. Hippogriffin. 4 cost, 2/6 beast, neutral beast with Rush and Taunt. That's an interesting combination. Rush and Taunt. You don't see that too much. 4 cost, 2/6. That's a nice, decent sized body, low attack. I don't think the Rush is necessary. I'd rather have more attack or health instead of having the Rush, because it has Taunt, which means your opponent's forced to attack it anyway. So, I don't... It's okay. It's not great. It's okay. Horde Pillager. 4 cost, 4/2 neutral pirate. With Battlecry, equip one of your destroyed weapons. This can be very good if you have, like, let's say only 2 big weapons in the deck. You play this, you equip one of those big weapons that you already played, and it just goes crazy. Like Ankar. Did I talk? I think I talked about that last video. Or it's somewhere later in this PowerPoint. I don't remember. Watch it be the next card. Very good. You could get like a Gore Howl back or something, which is great value. Just boom. Just friggin' amazing. What's another great weapon that you could get? You get an Arcanite Reaper back. That's always good. For in Wild, you could get a Kingsbane off of this, and then you have 2 Kingsbanes in your deck. Or if you're running 2 Horde Pillagers, you can have 3 Kingsbanes just shuffling in your deck. A Hot Air Balloon. 1 cost 1/2 mech, or a neutral mech. At the start of your turn, gain +1 health. So basically, this card just kind of steamrolls a bit. It's a relatively low 1 cost stat line, because 1/2s aren't really strong anymore. But it gets 1 health at the start of every one of your turns. So it's just going to slowly keep getting bigger. So it's kind of like, it's like Shade of Naxxramas. A bit low for its stats to start, but can eventually just steamroll into something big. Or like Gruul. Well, no, Gruul starts at a relatively decent spot anyway. And plus, it's every turn for Gruul. So, Hot Air Balloon, it's okay. Okay, 1 cost Shaman Spell. Invocation of Frost. Freeze an enemy, invoke Glockrond. So you'll get to freeze an enemy and summon a 2/1 with Rush. So, pretty decent. Pretty okay. I do honestly still think this is a bit underpowered, but it could be okay. I mean, you do think, hey, a 2/1 Rush is pretty good for 1, and plus you're freezing an enemy. But just freezing an enemy doesn't do much of anything. It stalls for a turn. But overall, it's okay. Kobol's Sticky Finger. 5 cost, 4/4 Pirate. Neutral Pirate, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting to say that, my bad. Battlecry, steal your opponent's weapon. Forget destroying their weapon. Why not just outright take it? So I guess maybe for a this is a strong counter against a Hack the System deck. Or helpful for your Hack the System deck. Because, oh, you have a weapon? I'll take that. Or really good against, in Wild, the, maybe the aggro Secret Mages would help out against. Get rid of their Aluneth. I mean, you aren't going to be able to get rid of the Aluneth once you have it, and your deck probably can't handle drawing that many cards. So maybe you should really just go with destroy a weapon against that deck anyway. So Kobol's Sticky Finger is probably very good for stealing big weapons from your opponent. And probably not much else. This guy's fun. Kronk's, I think that's how you say that, Dragonhoof. 6 cost, 6/6, neutral legendary. Battlecry, draw Glockrond. If you are already Glockrond, unleash a Devastation. And on the side over here, on the left, I have the 4 Devastations that can be used. Which is deal 5 damage to the enemy hero, and then you restore 5 health. Or you can summon an 8/8 dragon with Taunt. Or you can give your other minions +2/+2. Or you can deal 5 damage to all other minions. So very good for any situation. Your opponent has a big board, Annihilation. You got a bunch of stuff on board, or maybe you're playing a token type deck with Glockrond, you got Domination. You need some big taunt because Annihilation doesn't seem like a very good option because maybe your opponent has 1 or 2 minions on the board. Summon an 8/8 dragon with taunt. You want to heal and you just want to do damage to your opponent's face? Decimation. That's probably actually the weakest one, honestly. is Decimation, in my opinion. Because that's very rarely going to be used. That one's most likely going to be your opponent has nothing on the board and you want to heal. But honestly, most likely, if your opponent has nothing on the board, most people are probably going to choose the 8/8 Dragon with Taunt. Because that's just so much better. But overall, he is a super strong card. Super good for any Glockron deck. If you don't have Glockron in your hand, we'll pick him up. If you already got Glockron, you get this huge, good card move. Light Forged Crusader. 7 cost, 7/7. Because apparently Hearthstone needs to always do 7 cost, 7/7s. This is the second one for this expansion. The other one was the Evasive Dragonid, I think is what it was. So this is a Paladin minion. Battlecry, if your deck has no neutral cards, so if you just are running Paladin cards, add 5 random Paladin cards to your hand. This seems super cool in concept of just running a bunch of Paladin cards, but I don't think it is strong enough. I think running all Paladin cards is not a great idea, because generally the neutral cards are there to kind of connect your deck together in a way. Like, I'm not sure what kind of Paladin deck would be good with just a bunch of Paladin cards. You'd have to play probably some kind of control deck, but are you going to be able to keep enough control with all the Paladins? It's weird. It's a weird thing to do, and is it achievable is the question, which I don't know if it is. Which goes to the next one, which has the very same friggin' thing. 4 cost, 4/2 Paladin minion, the Lightforged Zealot. Battlecry, if your deck has no neutral cards, again, equip a 4/2 True Silver Champion. Also pretty decent as well, but can't have neutral cards. Or you can run a few neutral cards and hope you draw them, so then when you play these, you still get the effect off. It's kind of, or play an aggressive deck, I guess. Because then you run out of cards, and hey, there's no neutral cards in my deck because my deck's empty. You play this 4/2 True Silver Champion. I don't know. I don't know how those two cards are going to work very well together. They just don't make sense. Neutral cards are there to be used to put decks together, and certain cards are good for certain classes and stuff like that. So just not using any of them makes no sense. Neutral, again, 3 cost, 3/4, neutral elemental, Living Dragon Breath. Your minions can't be frozen. Decent, just fine. I mean, your minions can't be frozen. It's just good. That's really good. And stat line's perfectly fine. Not too much to say about this. Mana Giant. 8 cost, 8/8. Mage Elemental. Costs 1 less for each card you've played this game that didn't start in your deck. So this could go very well with Raid the Sky Temple, because that hero power keeps adding stuff to your hand that didn't start in your deck. This also goes very well in Wild with the Time Portal one, because to achieve that, you have to play, I think it's 6 cards that didn't start in your deck, which then just helps out this too in the long run. You do 2 of these, you take an extra turn, 16 damage. You just do a crap ton of damage the next turn, because your opponent, can't stop you. They don't have a turn. So you play two of these for free, And then maybe you play some Arcane Giants because you've probably been playing a lot of spells because you got to play at least 6 that weren't in your deck to get that extra turn. You play 2 of those, you've got 8 times 4, you got 32 attack on the board. And then you just press extra turn, take your extra turn, kill your opponent. Easy. So, probably very strong in Wild, and honestly pretty strong in, I'm sure, Standard as well. Molten Breath. 4-cost warrior spell. Deal 5 damage to a minion. If you're holding a dragon, you also gain 5 armor. Pretty good. Relatively strong card. 4-cost to deal 5 is okay. And then 5 armor as well. Just overall pretty decent card. Not too much to say about it. Morzord the Infinite. I don't know if I said that right. 8-cost, 8/8 Priest Dragon. Battlecry, play all cards your opponent played last turn. So basically, to counter this, never have a good turn. It is very strong, super good. If you know your opponent's playing it, you're like, well, I can't have a good turn because then they're just going to play this also have a good turn. Actually, they will have a better turn. Because most likely you spent, I don't know, 10 mana on your cards. He's paying 8 for those same cards, plus having an 8/8. And then he can use 2 mana to probably just heal himself a little bit, you know? Just so good. I think there's a shoe-in for literally any priest deck that wants to play competitively, because this is just so strong. If you're playing a control warrior, he's just plays a bunch of... No, not a control. Playing an aggro deck, you play this, just also now you're aggro all of a sudden somehow. Just great control type deck. Great against control decks. It's just amazing. Nether Breath. So this is a 2-cost warlock spell. Deal 2 damage, but if you're holding a dragon, you deal 4 instead, and it has lifesteal. That's pretty dang good. Dealing 4 with lifesteal. I always try to figure out, is Warlock really going to run dragons, though? I don't think they will. So it's a strong card, yes, but I don't think they're going to run it because they don't run dragons. They run little demons and stuff in Zoo. They don't run dragons. They do Zoo. It's what they do. So honestly, strong card, but not going to see play. Nithog. 6-cost, 5/5 Shaman Dragon. Battlecry, summon 2/0/3 eggs that next turn hatch into 4/4 drakes with Rush. But if you kill the eggs, you don't get it, obviously. It's not like a death rattle thing where they instantly will die. Some type of thing where if it survives until next turn, this thing happens. So, overall, pretty good card. If you can keep those eggs alive, that's a lot of stats. So, your 5/5 dragon will probably go face that next turn, and the 4/4 drakes will keep the board relatively clear. So, honestly, a great card. If you already have control on the board, why not play this? Because it's going to be very hard for your opponent to deal with those 0/3 eggs then, because they don't have anything on the board. Parachute Brigand. 2-cost, 2/2 neutral pirate. After you play a pirate, summon this minion from your hand. So, just a solid pirate deck. Aggressive pirate deck, probably. This guy is best friends with Patches, I'm sure. They hang out, they party all night long, and then they go parachuting together, you know? One jumps out of the deck, other one jumps out of the hand. It's a good time for them. They have so much fun together. So just a good card. I think this is going to be great for an aggressive pirate warrior, maybe. Probably not rogue, because I don't think rogue has enough pirates to really support this card. So I think it would be more towards warrior, most likely. The Plate Breaker. 5 cost, 5/5 neutral minion with battle cry of destroying your opponent's armor. All of it. Just all of it. Snap, and it's gone. Just Thanos style, you know? Just gone. This is great against control warriors, obviously. It's great against druid that's very popular with using Linecracker and bees to get like 2,000 armor, I think about. This card just instantly shuts that down. Just one card does that. Just, nope, you don't get that. He's done. Then you also have to kill the line breaker, which you probably want to do that before you try to deal with the armor. You do that afterwards. But honestly, just great against control, great against anything with armor, great against that druid with using Linecracker to get a bunch of armor. Rain of Fire. 1 cost, warlock spell. Do 1 damage to all characters. All of them. This is more of a warlock type card. It's a weaker Hellfire, basically. I don't know if this will see play. I think it's honestly I think it's too small. So I don't see it being competitively played much. Ramming Speed. 3 cost warrior spell. Force a minion to attack one of its neighbors. I don't know if that's... I mean, that can be okay. But I think most people would rather just use the Super Collider to get this effect 3 times. Yes, you're taking damage each time you do it, but I think it's more useful to use it 3 times for only 2 cost more. So I think that is a much better choice. Righteous Cause. 1 cost Paladin side quest. All you gotta do is summon 5 minions, and the reward is your minions get +1/+1. So I think this is maybe aimed more towards an aggressive Paladin, possibly. Where it's buffing your minions. Once you got a bunch, you just play. They get buffed. Face. I think that's kind of what it's looking for. I think this would actually be very good in Wild. With with the aggressive odd Paladin, especially. So I think pretty strong card. Ritual Chopper. 2 cost, 1/2 warrior weapon. Battlecry of Invoke Glockrond. So the invoke for the warrior one is giving +3 attack that turn. So for the first attack that you get, if you decide to attack the first turn that you play it, which obviously you should, it'll be a 4/2 weapon. And then the next time it attacks, it's just a 1/2 weapon. So first attack, really good. Second attack, really weak. Evens it out. Rolling Fireball. 5 cost, mage spell. Deal 8 damage to a minion. Any excess damage continues to the left, or to the right. And if you do it to an edge one, it will always go and hit the other one. It's never going to hits the one and then goes the wrong way and doesn't hit anything. No, it will always use all of its damage. Unless all the minions are dead. So, strong card. Honestly, a lot stronger than Flame Lance. Because Flame Lance was dealing 8 damage to a minion, but that's all it was. No excess damage moved around to other ones. It just did 8 damage to that minion specifically. That was it. So honestly, great card. Spell damage will make it ridiculously good. So, solid. And that's all of the cards that I have right now. I will try to get more soon, I'm hoping. I'm just going to start working on the PowerPoint again. It will be the last preview, and then I will be jumping into the review videos of this. Not sure if I'll get any Wind Waker out this week, just because I have school stuff that I gotta get working on. So, I'll see you all next time for the next Descent of Dragons preview.